My name is Catherine. I'm in my fourth year of marriage and currently pregnant with my second child. My business journey began when I opened an online shop during my student years, and eventually I ended up owning an actual store. Thanks to that, my company has grown into a large organization, and it's been 10 years now, bringing in significant profits. My husband Bob is an office worker, but I don't know about his job. When I try to ask him more, he always says,
Even if I explained, you wouldn't understand. Talking about something you can't get is just a waste of time.
after our first child was born, we moved in with his parents. Given the nature of my job, I can't always be home in time to prepare dinner, so the help from my mother-in-law, Julie, is incredibly appreciated. My father-in-law, Ken, had an accident a few years ago and has been in a wheelchair ever since. Because of that, we need to take care of Ken, but my in-laws support each other and do their best not to burden me. Honestly, I should be the one helping them more, but I'm so grateful for how kind they are. To do something for them, I decided to give them a house that is fully accessible. When thinking about whose name to put on the deed, I realized it would be easier to put it in Bob's name now, considering he would eventually inherit it. So I put the house on my husband Bob's name. Of course, my in-laws didn't care whose name it was in. They were simply thrilled to receive a barrier-free home. And now I'm pregnant with our second child. I left my daughter with Julie and came to the obstetrics and gynecology for a pregnancy checkup. I finished the checkup as usual and it was time to pay. That's when I saw a pregnant woman and a man who seemed very concerned for her walking out of the exam room. Her husband came with her. I'm kind of jealous, I thought, but then something surprising happened. I recognized the man. No, more than that, it was my husband, Bob. What is this? Could this woman be Bob's mistress? I felt dizzy. I never imagined I'd run into them here. But with so many pregnant women around, I couldn't cause a scene. I forced a smile and approached my husband. Hi, Bob.
What?
Who is this woman? Your mistress.
Wait, Catherine, what are you doing here?
I'm here for my checkup, of course. It looks like she's here for hers too. You don't come with me, but you're here with her. Does that mean you love her more?
No, it's not. It's not like that.
Bob was flustered. The woman looked sad when he said it wasn't true. How could he make not only me, but also her feel this way? I'll just say the father of my baby has passed away then.
No, that's not it.
You don't have to panic so much.
You've got it all wrong, Catherine. It's not like that.
Just by looking at you two, I can see your relationship. Look, poor thing. Your precious girl is standing there with such a sad face. I feel sorry for the baby. What could possibly be not like that? It's clear as day they're having an affair. It's okay. I told you when we got married, didn't I? If you ever fall in love with someone else, I'll walk away quietly. So please, take care of her. That's right. I said those exact words when we got married. He laughed it off, saying it would never happen, and that it wouldn't be so easy to just separate like that. But that's where he was wrong. I'm not someone who clings to things. I value my own happiness and don't want to cause anyone sadness, especially when a woman is pregnant and made to feel sad by the actions of my husband. That's something I can't stand. As long as I can endure it, everything will be fine.
Saying the Father's in heaven means we're getting divorced, right? I don't want a divorce. Please, Catherine, don't misunderstand.
I don't think it's a misunderstanding. Oh, they're calling me. I'll be going now.
We'll talk when we get home, okay? Once we talk, you'll understand.
He was desperately pleading. But what was there to misunderstand? It wasn't a misunderstanding. The truth was clear. He had a mistress, and she was pregnant, even though I'm pregnant myself. I left my husband and his mistress standing there and rushed out of the hospital. As I drove home, no matter how much I tried not to, I couldn't stop thinking about him. He kept saying I was wrong, but what exactly was wrong? Maybe she really wasn't his mistress after all? But no, it's clear as day they're in a relationship. In fact, they looked more like a married couple. Why else would they be at the obstetrics and gynecology together if they weren't either lovers or spouses? There's no other explanation, which means they're definitely in love. The promise I made when we got married kept replaying in my mind. If you ever fall in love with someone else, I'll leave you without making a fuss. I didn't actually want to do that. So why on earth did I make such a promise? But if he has cheated, it must be because I'm lacking in some way. In that case, divorce might be for the best. If I continue to hold on to him, it will only lead to both of us being miserable. For his happiness and for hers, I need to step aside. I should just let go. The thought kept cycling through my head as I drove over and over. It was like a maze with no exit, where I thought I had found the answer, only to lose it again. I'm not the type to cling to things. That's right. I'm not attached to him, so it's fine. I'll let him be with her. I have my job. I have money. I won't be left wanting for anything without him. But she'll need him. Especially once the baby is born, it's better for both parents to be together. But I just can't forgive the betrayal. Cheating isn't just infidelity. It's a personal betrayal against me. That's why we need to separate. By the time I arrived home, I felt like I finally had my answer. When I walked in the door, my daughter ran to me, thrilled that I was back.
Welcome home. You're late. I was starting to worry something had happened.
I'm sorry I'm late.
How's the baby?
Doing well, growing strong.
That's great to hear.
Julie gave me her usual kind smile. If I leave Bob, I'll be leaving that gentle smile behind too. But there's no turning back on my decision now. I told my daughter I had something to discuss with her grandparents, gave her a snack, and told her to play by herself for a while. Then I entered my in-laws' room. Knowing that I don't usually act this way, my in-laws immediately sensed something serious had happened. I sat down and told them everything that had just occurred at the hospital.
I can't believe.
Julie muttered, unable to find more words. I'm so sorry things have come to this. It's all because of my fault. Please, don't be angry with Bob.
Don't be angry. Catherine, you haven't done anything wrong.
No, it's because I'm lacking in some way. That's why I've decided to end things.
I understand wanting to leave after being cheated on, but maybe you should at least talk it out first?
No, if we talk, I might waver. His mistress must be going through a tough time too. She's pregnant and probably worried about what will happen to her. That stress isn't good for the baby either. I think it's best if I step aside.
But Catherine, you're pregnant too. You're going through just as much. Why should only you be the one to walk away?
No, Julie. I'm not stepping aside just for her sake. I believe Bob truly loves her. That's why he went to the hospital with her instead of his pregnant wife. I'll be fine. If I go back to my parents, they'll take care of me, and I won't have any financial worries.
Well, that's true, but
The one who won't struggle should be the one to step aside.
What about your children? They'll lose their father.
That's the hard part, but it can't be helped. Besides, this isn't entirely for Bob's sake. Deep down, I know I can't forgive his betrayal. If we stay together, neither of us will be happy.
I understand that, but you should talk it out first, and infidelity is not something you should just forgive. Bob is the one at fault, not you. Please don't blame yourself.
Thank you, but my mind is made up. Besides, I promised him when we got married that if he ever fell in love with someone else, I would let him go. I love him, and that's why I believe it's best to let him be happy, even if it means separating.
Oh no.
I'm leaving the divorce papers here. I already filled out my part, so he just needs to sign and it's ready to be submitted. I'll take custody of my children. That woman is also pregnant, so she shouldn't have his ex-wife's children, and I can't leave them.
This is just too much.
I'm sorry, Julie and Ken. Saying that, I apologize to them.
I can't believe you're the one leaving when it's Bob who's in the wrong.
Ignoring Julie's words, I left the room and began packing my things. After calling the movers, I had my and my daughter's belongings taken out of the house. Julie, I've taken all of my things and my daughter's. Anything left is not needed, so I'd appreciate it if you could dispose of them.
I understand, but could you reconsider? It would be so hard not to see our grandkids anymore.
Julie, his mistress will have her baby soon too. You'll have another grandchild. Thank you for taking such good care of my child. I bowed again and walked out of the house. Later that night, Bob came home. He had probably been relaxing at his mistress's place. But waiting for him was Julie's angry voice.
Bob, Catherine's gone.
What? She really left.
She even left the divorce papers.
I see, even though I told her she was wrong.
Wrong? You don't have a mistress?
No, I do have a mistress. She's pregnant too. I think she's due around the same time as Catherine.
What on earth? How could you?
Well, it just happened.
You think it just happened is an excuse?
Look, I had no plans to marry her. That's why I told Catherine we'd talk when I got home. But she went and made up her mind on her own. She's so impatient.
You got someone pregnant and you don't plan to marry her? What does that mean?
Stop yelling. Just because she's pregnant doesn't mean I have to marry her. I told her I'm already married. The worst case scenario is I acknowledge the child, and that's it.
You think just acknowledging the child is enough?
Of course. It's not like I'm saying we should break up just because she's pregnant. By acknowledging the child, I'm taking responsibility, so there's no problem. I don't understand why I have to get a divorce because of this.
Do you not realize that you've been unfaithful?
It's not infidelity. It's not some casual fling.
So you're saying you're serious?
Yes, exactly. If it were just an affair, I'd have told her to get an abortion. I want to acknowledge the child because I'm serious about this.
How foolish. You already have a wife.
And what's wrong with that? Why can't I love more than one woman? There are countries in the world with polygamy. Even in the US, we used to have it. It's only because of monogamy that things get complicated. You should complain to the government, not me.
You absolute fool.
Why am I a fool? It's natural for a man to want to be with multiple women. I'm just being true to myself as a man.
How stupid can you be? Catherine was such a good wife. What more could you want?
What more? I didn't want anything else. I thought she was more than I deserved. That's why we had a second child. If I had a problem with her, I wouldn't have had another kid.
If you had no complaints, then why?
Mom, that's a circular question. But anyway, without Catherine here, you'll be the one struggling since there won't be any woman around. Even if she was busy, Catherine still took care of the house, right?
Yes, she did. Even when I had to make dinner because she was swamped with overtime, she'd thank me and say how much she appreciated it. And the next day, she'd bring me cake or donuts, something I like, to show her gratitude.
She was a great wife. It's a shame.
A shame? It's a huge loss.
Well, she's gone now, so it is what it is. Since we need a woman around, living with my new girlfriend will solve the problem.
That's not going to solve anything.
His parents tried to tell him that it wasn't that simple, but Bob wouldn't listen. His girlfriend, Michelle, who had now moved in, claimed she couldn't help because of her pregnancy.
I'm so tired. Hey, Bob, you take care of the house stuff. And if you can't, ask Julie to do it.
Yeah, sure.
What are you talking about? Catherine still managed to cook meals even when her belly was huge.
Huh? People are different. Not everyone has no morning sickness or feels the same way. I'm carrying Bob's baby, which makes me an important woman. Why should I have to do housework when I'm feeling so bad?
Yeah, you're right. Mom, just hang in there until the baby's born.
I still have to take care of your dad, and now you're telling me to handle the housework too.
Just because you're older doesn't mean you shouldn't be doing anything. As long as you can move, you should.
What kind of woman are you? Don't you realize that not moving can make childbirth harder for you?
I'll be fine. I'm planning on having an epidural, so no worries there. Well, I feel sick again. Bob, I'm craving something sweet. Go get me something.
Michelle used Bob as she pleased, sending him out to buy whatever she wanted to eat. Meanwhile, she didn't lift a finger to do anything herself. Julie, having been told by Bob to bear with it until the baby arrived, decided to stop complaining. Even though she had Ken to care for, she started preparing 3 meals a day. But as the fatigue built up, Julie finally asked Bob to do something.
She's pregnant, so it can't be helped.
Pregnant or not, that's not a catch-all excuse. Don't you think I'm getting tired too? I never had to prepare 3 meals a day before.
You're a housewife, aren't you? That's not a big deal.
You've got to be kidding. Michelle doesn't even eat the meals I make if she doesn't like them. She says it's not what she wants and goes out for fast food instead.
You're not the one paying for it, so why is that a problem?
It's not about the money.
Like I said before, it's only until the baby's born. Once the baby arrives, Michelle will change. Back when we were dating, her house was always clean, and she made me meals when I visited. She's really a responsible woman.
That's how he brushed off the situation. But even after the baby was born, nothing changed.
Hey, Michelle, at least clean up around here. You're a mom now.
Yeah, I'm the amazing wife who gave birth to your grandchild. With the baby needing so much attention, you could at least handle the cleaning.
What kind of mom doesn't clean?
A newborn doesn't care who cleans the house. I'm the one changing diapers and feeding the baby, so that's enough.
If you're going to say that, then at least take care of the crying baby.
Huh? Why don't you take care of it yourself? Look, I gave birth to that baby for you. It was incredibly painful, you know. So why do you keep nagging me about cooking and cleaning? I gave birth and let you hold the baby. You should be thanking me.
With that, she handed the baby over and went out to enjoy herself. It was too much for Julie, so she came to me for advice.
The house that Catherine gifted us is wonderful, but I've reached my limit. I'm thinking of moving into a retirement home.
Is it really that bad?
Bad doesn't even begin to describe it. I don't know what Bob was thinking, choosing a woman like that.
Well, I could introduce you to a home that my friend runs. It's brand new and very nice.
That would be great, but isn't it expensive?
What's your budget?
We have Ken's retirement money and some savings, but
Unfortunately, the amount Julie mentioned wasn't enough for most homes. But I couldn't just ignore Julie, who was doing everything she could for Ken. Yes, that amount will be fine. Just keep in mind there will also be monthly payments, so please consider that.
don't worry, I can still work. Up until now, I couldn't work because taking care of Ken took up so much time, but in the home, they'll handle his care right, so I'm planning to start working again.
What kind of work do you have in mind?
Believe it or not, I used to work at an accounting firm. So, I'm thinking about doing bookkeeping or accounting management work from home. All I need is a computer.
That's amazing. I know a business owner who's looking for someone to handle their accounting. I'll introduce you. He's a great guy.
Oh my, you'd go that far for me? I feel bad accepting all your help.
Not at all. It's the least I can do. In the end, my in-laws moved into the retirement home, and I decided to cover the shortfall in their expenses. Of course, I didn't tell Julie or Ken about this. It was my way of thanking them for everything they'd done for me as their daughter-in-law. Once the home arrangements were settled, my in-laws quickly moved in, despite Bob's attempts to stop them. Now, the only ones left in that house were Bob and his foolish girlfriend. If Bob had treated my in-laws better, I wouldn't have even considered revenge. But things had changed. I decided to stop doing all the things I'd silently been doing for Bob and let everything take its course. About a month and a half later, I got a call from Bob.
Hey, what's this about a loan?
Oh, Bob, long time no see?
Yeah, it's been a while. So, what's this loan thing?
A loan is when you borrow money from a financial institution and pay it back in installments.
I know that much.
Then don't ask. I'm busy, you know.
That's not what I mean. The bank is telling me I have to pay. They said it's $3,000 a month. What's going on?
Whoa, that's the mortgage for the house.
Why is there a mortgage?
Because we bought the houses.
But you bought the house, so you should be paying for it, right?
You and your wife are the ones living there now.
But it's not even in my name.
Actually, it is. That means it's your asset. So, of course, you have to pay.
But I thought we bought it in cash.
No way. I wouldn't spend that much cash on something like that.
But you never mentioned there was a loan before.
Of course not. I won't do anything which your parents would worry about.
So, you were paying it all this time?
Yes, I paid it while your parents were living there for Julie and Ken's sake.
Then why can't you keep paying it now?
Why would I? I have no obligation to.
Don't say that. We were married, weren't we?
Yes, we were. Now we're not.
I can't afford to pay such a high mortgage.
Then sell or rent the place. Now that Julie and Ken are gone, it has nothing to do with me.
But then we'll have nowhere to live.
That's your problem. And I'm not paying the utility bills anymore either. You've been using them freely, but now you'll have to cover them yourself.
That's impossible.
Why? Everyone pays their utilities and mortgage from their paycheck.
I'm not working.
What? You quit?
No, I was never really working in the first place.
What? You told me you had a job.
Well, I figured since you're the boss, I didn't need to work.
Oh, so that's what it was. That explains a lot. In my life with Bob, we both contributed to the household expenses. But since he didn't make much money, I often covered his share. Sometimes he even said his allowance wasn't enough because of other payments, and I'd give him more. But as the company president, I never really struggled financially, so I figured if he couldn't pay, that was just how it was.
Now that mom and dad are gone, I can't rely on their money anymore.
You were relying on their money?
Well, yeah, but it's not like I had a choice. I wasn't working, and they had retirement money and pensions. It's not unreasonable to lean on that, right?
You're pretty pathetic, aren't you? I'm really glad we got divorced.
Come on, help me out.
Maybe you should ask your wife to help you. I'm sure she'd hate it if I stepped in.
No way. She wouldn't mind.
And what makes you think that? Who would be happy knowing another woman was giving their man money? That would only make her suspicious.
She's an understanding person, so she wouldn't get suspicious over something like that. In fact, if I told her there's someone willing to help, I'm sure she'd be happy and would probably thank Catherine for it.
If that's true, then she's just as crazy as you. And let's not forget that Julie and Ken moved into a home because of your wife. I have no intention of helping you.
Come on, don't say that. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, they had enough money to move into a home. That's a good thing.
You're the one who pushed them out. You and your wife. How can you not feel the slightest bit of guilt?
What's gotten into you? You didn't even get mad when I told you I had a mistress. Why are you being so cold now?
I didn't get mad because I thought it was partly my fault, and I don't have the luxury of losing my temper. You can't lead people like that. But that doesn't mean I enjoyed being replaced.
Well, whatever. Just help me out, will you?
It's not whatever. Anyway, good luck. I'm done here. With that, I hung up the phone. After that, I didn't hear from him, so I figured he and his wife were managing to pay the mortgage somehow. But about a year and a half later, Bob called me again, sounding desperate.
Catherine, what am I going to do?
What's wrong?
They're telling me to move out. Isn't it awful to be kicked out of my own house?
If you were paying the mortgage, that wouldn't happen, would it?
We got letters about it, but I ignored them.
So, you knew this was coming then?
Well, I thought we could just keep ignoring it. I mean, it's just letters.
What?
Look, please help me out.
Are you still not working?
No, actually, she left me. Now it's just me and the kid.
She left the child behind?
Yeah, she said she couldn't stand living in poverty like this anymore.
What a terrible thing to do.
Apparently, she found a guy who's more well off, but she said the kid would just get in the way, so she left him behind. If things stay like this, the kid's going to suffer. So, please help me out.
I see. That's unfortunate, but it's not something you should be asking your ex-wife for help with. There are plenty of single fathers out there who manage just fine with a job. You should do the same. Frustrated by how pathetic he sounded, I hung up the phone. Of course, if it were true, the child would be in a tough spot. So I immediately asked my staff to investigate the situation, only to find out it was all a lie. Apparently, right after I hung up, there was a woman with him.
How did it go?
She wouldn't help.
You really are useless. She's loaded. You should have put more effort into begging her.
It's impossible. We didn't exactly part on good terms. She's too smart to fall for it.
Are you saying I'm not smart?
No, that's not what I meant.
That's it. I can't live with a man who can't provide. This was your last chance, but I'm done.
With those words, Michelle took their child and left. When I heard the news, I knew I had made the right decision to leave Bob. After that, the house was put up for auction, and Bob was evicted. Homeless, Bob turned to his parents and went to the retirement home. However, with Julie and Ken working so hard to pay for their stay, there was no way they could support Bob. Naturally, they refused. Desperate, Bob reached out to me again.
Listen, I'm really all alone now. I've got nowhere to work, nowhere to live. If this keeps up, I'll be left to die in the streets. You're the CEO, and surely you can take care of me, right?
Bob's pathetic plea made me decide to offer him a solution. There's a live-in job available. The company will cover the utility bills. Why don't you give it a try?
There's really a jobs like that?
So I introduced him to a jobs, but it was at a management office deep in the mountains. It was a job where he would be living alone for years. But true to his nature, Bob, who hated being alone, couldn't handle the isolation and abandoned the job coming down from the mountain. I have no idea where he is now, and I have no interest in finding out. As for me, I occasionally take my children to visit my in-laws at the retirement home. Both of them are doing well and living peacefully. Julie still takes on small jobs here and there to help pay for the retirement home. I secretly cover whatever is lacking for my in-laws, but as long as they stay healthy and happy, that's all I need to feel content.